I always recommend testing it first with your own thumbs to make sure that it feels good on your thumbs, because you don't want it to hurt hers. So I've been eagerly waiting for a chance to be able to show you all kind of some ideas of what is going to be happening, or what I'm hoping is going to be happening with the garden this year. I'm hoping to do raised beds, and I found a really adorable way of doing raised beds with the galvanized roofing and then the wood supports on the outside. So I'm really excited about doing that. Hopefully I can get started on that this coming week, but we've also got a whole bunch of other things happening this week. We have our first batch of baby meat birds, Cornish cross, showing up Tuesday or Wednesday, assuming that everything goes well. And I just finished placing our last order for the year, so we will have 200 meat birds for the year, for the summer, and that will take care of my family. I've had some friends say that they would like to buy some from me. We'll see. I mean, that's always available, and that would be just fine. But I know that 200 birds will take care of us. I've also got 16 turkeys arriving sometime mid-April-ish. So we've got to get that taken care of. We just got the well house concreted, and it's not as full as I would like it to be, but it will do the job. We've been having some problems with rats getting in there, and they've broken up the concrete quite a bit so that they can tunnel their way through the well house. So we put a fresh layer, probably about that thick, about 3 inches thick, of concrete throughout the whole floor in the well house, and then even going up on the sides, just to make sure that, you know, rats, mice can't tunnel through. I have to cover the divider in the well house with a 1/2 inch hardware cloth. Now that's not going to stop mice. I'm not as concerned about the mice. I'm more concerned about the rats. They would actually go after my meat birds more than the mice would. So a little concerned about that. So I want to make sure that that's all done, and just really make sure that it's as predator proof as I can possibly make it. Let's see, what else? I've got strawberries I need to plant. I have a whole bunch of seedlings that are doing great. I also lost a whole bunch of seedlings in those great big 72 cell flats. I lost a whole bunch of them. I would say I lost probably 60% of them. They were outside. We had a huge rainstorm. I thought they were protected, and the rain came from an unusual direction and flooded a lot of the seedlings out. Lesson learned. I thought it was going to be, I mean, it was a nice warm rain, but it was just really hard. So too hard for the seedlings. So I want to show you kind of a little bit of a before on my garden, and then throughout the summer, the spring, do a little bit of a progress report on how it's doing all the way to when we put the garden to bed. Hopefully, if I can do all raised gardens, then it'll be a whole lot easier to put them to bed come winter. Okay, it's Monday morning, March 29th, and it's sunshiny, beautiful outside, and we're going to be getting a lot of things done. My last video was Saturday, just talking about some of the things that I wanted to get done, but I've had somebody ask about showing how I use my surge milker on my cow. So this is what I'm just going to show you. I bought this cart from Family Farm and Home, and I love it because I have 2 cows that I'm milking, and only one of them uses the surge milker. The other one is being hand milked. My vacuum pump is about 40-50 pounds. It's really, really heavy. I leave that down in the barn. I just make sure that it's in a protected area, so I don't haul that back and forth. But with all of this stuff here, I need to be able to have a wagon or something. But let's talk about this. Inside this stainless steel container, I have some, these are just Domino sugar. containers, but these are really nice to milk directly into. Little jar of cat food for our barn cat. And I have 2 of these in here, and sometimes if I need to, I'll put like dry milking rags in here and just leave them in there. So 2 of us can milk, and then we dump the milk into the stainless steel here. And I've got my washing liquid here. Hi, Rick. Oh, man, Minnie. Yeah, I know, she is. I think I can get this. I appreciate it, though. I know you were busy with getting some stuff from the basement. Yeah, that's fine. I can do this. Take the cap off of the oil for the vacuum pump, and then turn on the vacuum pump.
Give me a second. Ugh.
Take the cap off.
I did.
First. All right, my vacuum pump shuts off because I don't have a strong enough extension cord from the pole barn out here to the barn. So I have to just, let it turn off. Once it gets to this high powered sound, I know we're good. There's my vacuum pump. My pressure gauge filled with oil here. Cap is off my exhaust on my oil. This is the hose that I'm going to attach to my surge. Now watch this. Did you get, hey, the lady up? So we need to wash it down? Yep. I'm testing. Alright, so I just attached the vacuum hose to the back of my surge. You can hear the clicking, the pulsating of the pulsator. Building up pressure because I got these yellow caps on the inflations so that air doesn't come in. So this is totally sealed. I'm going to wash Minnie and test her for mastitis. I do that every day. I use a mixture of warm water, essential oils, and natural detergent. So I've got this belt here, just loops over top of her body. I'll show you how we do that. And then there's this hook here, will hang from underneath her. Got it? Got it. Now, today we're doing all 4? Yep. Yeah, good job. Now, I need you to be ready to grab these inflations. Keep them from touching her leg. Alright. Ready? Yep. Oh, touch. There we go. I always have to do the front first.
Well, I can't reach the back.
Okay.
Actually, impossible.
Let's give it to me.
Thank you.
And we just hold it there until it builds up suction, and then it'll stay there on its own. So long as she doesn't kick it off. The trick is knowing how long to leave it on. that just comes with knowing your cow and knowing what she looks like when she's empty. I will feel the bag, the udder, and see how squishy it is.
It's squishy. Of course, the back one is always squishy, but it's not there yet.
So when we take one off at a time, we quick put the cap on it so that we don't lose pressure. I always recommend testing it first with your own thumbs to make sure that it feels good on your thumbs, because you don't want it to hurt her. And my back one is done. If you're done, I'll be done. All right. Ready? Ready. That's all there is to it. Take it off her, set it aside. No bacteria is getting in there. Sealed off from vacuum pressure. Take the hose off, turn off the vacuum pump. We always milk her out a little bit, whatever's left, to prevent mastitis.
I still recall the first time I saw you. I was so nervous to talk. Happened so fast, went from so lonely to falling asleep in your arms. I used to be afraid to fall in love. My past relationship was a disaster, but now I don't care. 'Cause you took my scars, bruises and broken heart, numbed all the pain, show me how to heal, and now I don't.
And that's our milking routine.
Broken anymore.
Let's go out and finally show you a little bit of the stuff that we've been working on. Gotta find my shoes.
Still got your
And I need to
smell.
take this paintbrush outside because I'm staining wood for my new raised garden.
I know sometimes I get too caught up in all of the wrong things, but you're always there to guide me. I used to be afraid to fall in love. A past relationship was a disaster, but now I
Let's
don't care.
take a look at the well house. Show you the concrete. My son put in a light in here, and it's not working for some reason. Let's see if I can figure out why. Of course I can't figure out why. So we put in some new concrete. It's not pretty. I have to put in hardware cloth along the edges, and then we put hardware cloth down underneath all of the cement and then all along some of the base edges. And that's mostly just to prevent rats from getting in here. I would love to say that it is 100% rat proof, but it's not yet. I would like to fix the eaves up here, put some hardwood cloth up there. Yeah, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done here. I'm hoping to use these 5-gallon jugs for water to use for the chickens, the meat birds' water, and kind of run some PVC pipe down and those little red cups. I haven't figured out exactly how that's going to work yet, so I'm still trying to figure that out. I also want to put some hardware cloth on the window here because right now I just have it covered with chicken wire. So there's still a good amount of work that needs to be done. The chicks are supposed to arrive tomorrow, so I gotta get this done. But let's also go take a look at the garden. Please keep in mind it is not pretty over there because for us our growing season hasn't even remotely begun. So my garden is pretty ugly right now. It's not going to stay that way. It will eventually be very beautiful. What's that, dear? Oh no. I've got a whole bunch of plastic, 6mm black plastic all over my garden, and I know it's not the best to use for a garden. You know, it leaches into the soil, but the thing is, my soil only grows thistles and hardcore weeds. So after working with it for about 4 years now, I've kind of given up, and I'm going to do all raised gardens. So I'm going to use the plastic so that I don't have to deal with the weeds. So I've got waiting on mulch coming. That's what I've got on the ground right now. I love it. But I was only able to get a few loads of it. So this year I'm waiting for the weight restrictions to be lifted on the roads for the big dump truck. And I'm going to have him bring, actually probably have him bring 4 or 5 dump truck loads to cover the whole garden. So behind me is my greenhouse, which I absolutely love. And this tiny little greenhouse has held up amazingly with our Michigan winters. Whoops, Minnie saw me and now she's whining. I've had a whole bunch of starts. Discovered that the milk jugs work, hands down, way better than flats do. But I've got a whole bunch of starts here in my baskets. I'm going to get some flowers going. So pretty excited about all of that. It's going to be amazing. And then take you inside here. I love this place. So I'm fighting with the mice and the rats over who gets to have this garden. I'm really trying to win this one. But I don't know if I'm going to win. I've got some spinach growing on this side and some blue kale on this side. And then in this one, romaine lettuce on this side, and then some crisp head lettuce on this side. The mice have really been terrorizing it. But I've got some roses that I'm going to be planting this year. It's going to be really beautiful. I've had some grow lights in here, and then I've got Christmas tree lights that I put up along the top. And just, I mean, it's a wonderful place to sit and work in here. It feels good in here, even though when the temperatures are in the 30s outside, you know, you get some sunshine going, keep it all closed up, it'll get to 50 something in here, and it's just so peaceful and it's quiet. It's just the most wonderful place in the world. It's one of my favorite places. So I've kind of decked it out to make it look pretty, or at least I'm working on that. So I've got my pretty little spring bulbs garden here. I've got some garlic in here, but I've got irises, hyacinths, tulips, daffodils. Yeah. Growing here. I've got a bunch of solar lights along my pathway. I have to clean up all my compost. This compost pile is mostly needing to be burned. And then put my compost over here. I've got my beginnings of an outline for asparagus. So I have asparagus in this area here. So we're going to get that outlined a little bit better. And then this bed over here that my husband's using for a workbench, that's going to be filled later with some dirt and plant some strawberries in there. I'm going to plant some raspberries along this edge, and then I want to put a climbing rose over top of this gate, and then I think along this fence on the other side I want to put some of my blueberries and elderberry bushes on that side. Yeah, so it's going to be, you know, if I can take care of everything, it will be very beautiful. But for now, it's really, really hideously ugly. Staining some wood pieces for the galvanized steel raised bed. I'm going to be putting that throughout. So picture this whole garden back here, and it's going to have like 12 or 16 8-foot by 4-foot raised gardens made of galvanized steel and hugel culture style. So I'll be putting a lot of brush, leaves, and other organic material down, and then put my topsoil, you know, on top. So that's kind of the story with the garden. I was able to get about half a gallon of maple syrup done this year, which was just absolutely lovely. Tasted Daisy's milk today. Absolutely wonderful, which is a huge blessing because she is A2A2. So that is just such a huge, huge, huge praise. Okay, I'm going to go find out what my cows are complaining about and keep working on this garden. And let's see. Yeah, every little step, every day, just a little bit more, we'll get there.